What is going on, Chaotix? It is your boy ChaosMan006 here, back with another part of the How to Draft League battle. Today we're going to the draft section of this video, of this series, doing how to draft leagues work, how to tier system work, and we'll get right back in the next video with how to actually draft a team. But for now we're just going to be looking at the tiers, how tiers usually work in draft league, and how to get an idea of how to draft a team. So first, you're going to make sure you know where the tiers fall. In each tier is worth a certain amount of points, as highlighted right here. Usually they run something similar to this. Sometimes it's A, B, C, D, E, or A, B, C, D, F. Sometimes it's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. Sometimes there's a 6th tier. We did 5 tiers in my league, the FPL, this season. So that's what we did. Again, you'll bring up the element of how many Pokemon you can have on a team, and you're going to make sure you meet or are under the point total. The point total for this draft league was 360, giving you the eligibility to draft certain things. Because you have to draft sometimes people make you draft a certain thing. So usually they'll make you draft this set right here, a tier 1, a tier 2, 2 tier 3s, a tier 4, and a tier 5. Now if there's 6 tiers, it'll be 1 of each tier. But if you have only 5 tiers, usually the middle tier doubles up and takes 2 picks. Megas also can waver on how they cost points-wise. Some they cost a certain amount of points depending on what tier they're in or where they're viable. Some people do a complete separate tiering system for Megas, meaning they cost you so many points. They're in a certain tier, so like some tiers they cost 0 points. I don't think there's very many of those. Some cost 20, some cost 10, some cost 50 points, some are like 100. It depends on where you want to do with that. And usually they give you as many free slots as the tiers you get to pick, depending on how many Pokemon are drafted. Again, some drafts do draft Mega Crystals, so you have to, not Mega Crystals, they draft Z Crystals, meaning you have to pick a Z Crystal that matches with your team, and you also have to take that as a draft spot. Maybe that doesn't count for any points, you just have to take one at one point in the game, so that's great. Many Pokemon are banned throughout the list. Many of the Ubers, like Super Legendaries, Delta or Rayquaza is banned, but you can start to see some of the Pokemon that are available in certain tiers. So of course, like the best top tier Pokemon are going to be in tier 1. You get things like Mega Alakazam, Celesteela is a big threat up in this ranks. Tapu Koko is up here as well. The Mega Latios are in here, Mega Lopunny, things like that. A lot of Megas find their way into the top 2 tiers, which is really, really cool, so that's great. But some of these Pokemon, they slip down into lower tiers. So I've seen like Victini be in tier 2, I've seen Skarmory be tier 3, and I've seen some of these Pokemon really drop down in tier usage. But some of these Pokemon, just certain ways you have to run them, make them in certain tiers. Now Zygarde is a special occasion. Many people do not run the Construct Zygarde. They run 50%. They cannot run the 100%. They can only run 50% form, and they have to have the Aurora Break ability, just because they can't get the boost. They can't have the almighty boost that makes it so impossible to defeat. So you slip down into tier 2, Alakazam on this one. You get things like Thundurus, Mega Slowbro, Salamence, Alolan Muck is down there, Empoleon. Empoleon can drop down to, I've seen Empoleon in tier 4 before. So this is just how we set it up this season. Suicune's in here as well, Volcanion. Many, many powerful things are in here. If you guys see these asterisks here on the side, one of the things I do in my league, if a Pokemon is used by a certain team, it is unavailable in the next season. So if you look up here, Celesteela has an asterisk next to it. That's because in season 1 of the league, I use Celesteela, so if I draft Celesteela on my team again, I am unable to use it in season 3. So that was just a rule I added into my draft league, just so we would have a diversity on how we could draft Pokemon. Drop in the middle tier, you're looking at things like Espeon, Feraligatr, Flagon's in here, and if you notice they're out of order here on the top part, these Pokemon that are not in order are actually borderline Pokemon, so we put the borderline in top of the next tier. So instead of being outside of tier 3, they would be in tier 3. They wouldn't be in the bottom of tier 2, giving them a chance to use. Like Uniclus falls into that category. Lucario's in there. Sharpedo's actually really good tier 3. So it's a good pick to have. Rotom forms are down here. Rotom-O, Rotom-Heat. Very good Pokemon. Lycanroc Dusk is in there as well. Snorlax picks up a tier 3 slot. Which is really great. Looking at tier 4, you got Barbaracle, Minior, things like that. Mega Arduino pops in here. Hitmonlee, Houndoom, Incineroar pops in. Medicham, really good in tier 4. Really an underwhelming, underrated pick. Vaporeon pops in at tier 4. Rotom itself gets in here. And then tier 5 is basically everything else. So Charizard, Gallade, Hariyama Sock, Passimian, Tauros. Those are borderline tier 5. So they get the top part of the list just because that's where they fall. The rest of them are in here, so like Aggron, as I was mentioning in one of the other videos, Aurorus falls in here, Corsola, which things you wouldn't typically use fall under this category. Many of the non-evolution Pokemon, Giraffe Briggs in here. Many Pokemon that are not fully evolved also fall in here that can get used except for Chansey, which is obviously really good. The other Lycanroc forms are down here as well, they're in here. This Jinx pops in, Artillery, Oranguru, Sawsbuck, Alolan Sandslash. Many of these underrated Pokemon can find their way into higher tiers. Raichu and Alolan Raichu are down here as well. You just gotta look, you gotta make sure your Pokemon in there, because if you look back at the top where I said, go back to the top of the sheet here. I say all Pokemon not in this list are banned. So if they're not in this list, that means you cannot use them. That kind of goes without saying, but some people think just because, oh, these Pokemon aren't in this list, means I can use them in a different tier, and it's a slot for something else. But just, you gotta clarify with your team. Make sure you know that certain Pokemon cannot be used. Because if you have, like, I don't have Mega Rayquaza on this list, so if you were to say, oh, I can pick Mega Rayquaza as my tier 1 slot, because it's not on the list, but that's where it falls in Showdown and Smogon tiers. No, you have to follow the tier strategies laid out by your commissioners and council members and people who run the league, because they ultimately have the final say in what pops up as some of the higher tier mons. So that is all about draft tiers. So thank you very much for watching. Some of the other draft tier videos you might want to watch out, things like the P4G, the APL, things like that. That's where I got a lot of my inspiration for making my tiers. And also, Smogon's a really good place to just get a basis for tiers. Many people use competitive tiers that way and see how that works. And since it's available to pretty much everyone, it's free. You don't have to have like a lot of different things to do it. You don't have to buy a game to play on Smogon, so you just go on the website and play. So a lot of people use that to create their tiers. However, some of those are flawed. This is a mixture of the tiers. How I break down the tiers is a mixture of what Pokemon were an OU, UU, RU, NU, and those tiers on Smogon, and also by their base stat totals. Some Pokemon like with 600 plus do not fall in tier 1, so it's anything under 600 falls in tier 1, and it goes down to like, this is tier 2 is like 545 or something like that. Tier 3 is like 550 to 400. So I do base stat totals as well, and usage, so it's a collaboration of everything into one whole tiering list. And many people use tiers sometimes as ways to make Pokemon be not used. So let's go take a tier 2 mon. Let's say you take an Alakazam, you use it in tier 2. If it's used that season, it pops up to tier 1. So many people just rather grab Mega Alakazam in tier 1 and use it there. We tried to do that once, but after season 1, we noticed a lot of Pokemon ended up being in a higher tier and not used. It's like things like Celesteela, anything in tier 1 right here that you see with an asterisk would not be allowed to be used. So that takes away a lot of different things and makes battling really hard. So we just put an asterisk beside it, find a different way to make teams get different Pokemon usage. And many trainers like to do different things, but they have their really nice Pokemon they like to use. Like, I really like to use Celesteela in my team, just because you can set up with it too many different ways. But thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy, and that'll be the end of this video. I hope to see you guys in the next coming up videos for this series. And that's all I have for you today. Make sure you do leave a like if you did enjoy it, and subscribe for more content on this topic or just other content in general. But until next time, I will see you then. And I am ChaosMade006 signing off. So, as always, burn it up.